All right, legend, welcome back. Hey, if you're watching this and you've done part 1 and part 2, I'm super proud of you because it means that you are finishing what you started. It means that you are committing to be a finisher, and that is flipping awesome. That means you're well on your way to, the universe saying, hey, this guy deserves it. This girl deserves it. So maybe we will serve it to them. All right. So in this section of the social media course, it's all about the messenger. Like the money is in the messenger. So we're going to talk about what you need to say, the different types of leads, what you need to say to these different types of leads, and then how to actually close them into sales or into team members. A lot of people, they kind of just give the script, so they just kind of just use simple terminologies. But you have to really appreciate, is someone freezing cold, warm, or boiling hot? And then you need to appreciate that there are different ways that people are going to find you or you're going to find them. Like maybe I find my friend Bob. Maybe Mary finds me. Maybe Sarah sees a post of mine because it's on the explore page of Instagram and she comments. Maybe someone shared my profile with them and they message me through my stories. There are so many different ways to start the conversation, whether you're finding people or being found, and you have to be aware of both of them. You can attract people and you can act on people, right? Those are the two kind of major ways, all right? But in this third part of the social media course, you're really gonna understand that we're gonna kind of go full circle of setting things up, building your foundation, setting things up, creating content, and now it's all about making money in the messenger. Okay? So remember, finish what you said you were starting to do. You're almost there now. And as a final note, make sure you watch a section, you take action, you watch a section, you take action, you watch a section, and you take action. And then if there's anything that you've got questions about, then be sure to ask someone you know who has the answer, who has gotten to where you want. Because if you keep focusing on the how to, you need to focus on the who's got. If you make that difference in your business, you'll make a massive difference in your life as a result. Who's got what you want? They're the people who can tell you. And hey, if you don't know who that is, hello, I'm here. So never, ever feel afraid to send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. If I'm able to help, I will. If I have the time, I'll make the time for you. All right? I appreciate you. Go and finish what you started. And yeah, enjoy the third part here of Saga Social Media Course. All right, legends. Fraser Brooks here with day 3, part 3 of our social selling secrets. I hope by now that you've had some sort of bingo moment and value to justify the investment in yourself. Remember, it's always well worthwhile investing in yourself, only if you take the action. And to start off, I want to kind of tell you maybe like a short story, really, because I think it's important with today, because today is all about like making money, let's say. You've got things set up, you kind of have a better idea and you know what to do when it comes to content creation. But as I've been saying over the last couple of days, the last couple of sessions, that the money is all made in the messenger. So I want to help you know exactly what to do in the messenger. So I loved building the business that when I was building from 2009 all the way till the end of 2016, mainly using social media. Those like 7 years were like some of the best years of my entire life. I met Svetlana. I met some of the most amazing people. I traveled around the world. I was doing 1-on-1s, 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, 5-on-1s, 10-on-1s, rooms of 200 people, 400 people, 800 people. I worked behind the scenes with corporate. I was organizing the events. I literally was an apprentice to the entire industry and made a bucket load of money whilst I was doing that. But one thing became very apparent. I loved building internationally because I mastered social media very, very early on. And what I was always grown up to know is you've got to master the basics. You've got to master the mundane, right? You've got to do the boring work over and over and over again. And leaders make the boring exciting, right? Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. These are the things that I was taught, right? So I learned very, very early on that this is the most important thing to get success. Basics better more often. Basics better more often. Basics better more often. Basics better more often, right? If I was to get a tattoo, I don't plan on it, but I would probably get that somewhere on my body, right? Basics better more often because it's so important. And as we started to go into different companies, we went into Bolivia, into Sweden, into Italy, into Taiwan, into the Philippines, into Russia, into Israel. Guess what the leaders started to say? Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that in our country. And some of you guys might be thinking the same. Oh, yeah, but it doesn't sound as good in our language. Language is one thing, but it won't work like that. Like we don't do in-person events, or we don't do big events, or we wouldn't meet in coffee shops, or. And we started to change the system or change the basics based on each country we went to. So what we did in Sweden was different to the UK, and what we were doing in the UK was different to Italy. And once we had like 5 or 6 countries on the go, everything started to slow down. And I remember meeting with my dad and saying, Dad, we've got a challenge. We've got a problem in the business. We're very grateful to have like 6 really big teams in different countries, but everyone is singing different songs. So imagine this. Imagine I say 1, 2, 3, go. And when I say go, you all start singing different songs. It is a complete mess. So we needed to get everyone singing the same song, singing from the same hymn sheet, singing and knowing the same basics. So I said to I said to my dad, my dad's name's Simon. I said to my dad, Dad, I'm going to go over to Kazakhstan because this is going to be our 7th biggest team or 8th biggest team. I don't remember the exact number, but this was in 2013. So we've been building the business for 4 years and it was crushing it, but it slowed down because we started to complicate it. And a lot of the times, the longer you're in the business, the more you know. The more books you've read, the more podcasts you've listened to, the more events you've attended, the more mentors you've got, the more strategies that you've heard. And then what happens is you get stretched too thin and it complicates everything. And you start to redo the system, redo the presentation, redo the content, and you stop focusing on the basics. And when you hit the reset button, that's when the basics come in. That's the reset button. If you're ever overwhelmed, ever frustrated, ever just feeling stuck, hit the reset button and do the basics. So I said to my dad, Dad, I'm hitting the reset button. Let's create the basics again. And we're going to tell all the leaders, I do this because like leaders is a very, very overused word in network marketing. Just because you have a team of 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 people does not make you a leader, because a leader is not based on the size of your team. A leader is not based on the rank title. Leadership is a skill that you have to develop over a long period of time. Anyway, so my dad and I and a couple of the leaders met in my dad's house. We got the whiteboard out and we wrote down the basics. And the basics should be able to be done or told on a napkin, like the napkin presentation, right? The napkin presentation, that's the basic presentation. The napkin system, that's the duplication system. The napkin system, that is the social media system. So my dad says, okay, cool. Well, you're going to Kazakhstan. Why don't you test it with the group there? I said, okay. So I fly into Moscow. And then I literally get a flight from Moscow over to Astana. Astana was like the former capital of Kazakhstan. I think they changed the name of the capital. They named the new capital after like the former president because he was like a legend, right? Kind of fun fact. Anyway, imagine having the capital city named after you. Wild. That's legacy. That's significant. So anyway, we arrive and we land at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm exhausted. And like the 8 different people in the team in Kazakhstan meet me there with Sergey, like the Russian speaking leader. He was like my translator at the same time. And we drove from the airport to the hotel. Now, I was at the hotel and I was absolutely exhausted and I just wanted to go to bed. And it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. at this time. And the leaders are there. We're all sat around having a cup of tea in this hotel lobby. And I'm thinking, surely it's time to go to bed. And they're like, no, training. Right? So like training. And I'm thinking, this is weird. Doing a training at 3 a.m. like when I've just arrived. I said, you know what? I'll give you a training if you promise me that you will invite people to the hotel for a meeting, a presentation for guests at 9 o'clock. And they were like, yeah. It was all in like Russian and Kazakh, 2 different languages. So I was like, all right, cool. So I do this training and it's the basics training. Okay, it's the basics training. It was the whole idea of what I'm going to share with you now. And then I gave them the training on what to do on a blitz. So you find the contact, you ask them this question, and then you invite them usually like the part of the system would you give them a presentation, but the presentation would be at 9 o'clock. They said, all good. Okay, it's 4 a.m., right? It's 4 a.m. I go to bed, and I'm like literally fully clothed on the top of the bed, exhausted. And I hear a sound at 9 a.m. And I'm thinking, okay, what's happening here? Like room service maybe, open the door. And it was Sergey. Sergey says, hey, we need to get downstairs. And he was also like me. He was kind of like absolutely exhausted. And I was like, what's going on? There's like 20 people downstairs. They want you to do like a presentation. And I'm like, what the heck? We said 9 p.m., not like 9 a.m. They were like, well, they must have misunderstood. These guys have been going crazy whilst we've been sleeping. Like, let's go. So I go downstairs and they say in Kazakh and Russian, and Sergey says, tell these guys what you told the 8 at 4 a.m., 3 or 4 a.m. this morning. I was like, all right, cool. So I gave them the basics, the basic presentation, which we had kind of established that helped answer 3 questions. What do I need to do? Can I do it? Will it be worth it? Which was the system, right? This is the system that we use. That's what do I do? Some stories. Can I do it? And then comp plan, like the comp plan basics. That's will it be worth it? What do I need to do? Can I do it? Will it be worth it? That was the system. And then I said, and like for those of you who decide to join, in 5 minutes, I'll start a real basic training that can help you leverage this presentation to make money. 5 minutes went by and it's like 9:30, 9:35, and every single one of those 25 guests signed up on the spot. And I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's done here in Kazakhstan. And I gave the training, which was the basics training, which I'm going to share with you what that was in a moment. And I've shared it all over the world. So I'm doing it. And then they say, can we do another presentation? I said, yes, 9 p.m. That's what we're in. No, too slow. 12 p.m. We did a presentation at 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and at 9 p.m. that same day, the day that I arrived, we had 400 guests in the hotel meeting room. 400 guests. The team members couldn't even be in the room because there just wasn't the room. And of the 400 guests, 320, 330 of them all signed up that night. And I remember calling my dad and going, Dad, we've cracked it. And he said, what? I said, the basics work. He said, why? I said, refresh your back office. And he went onto he said, I'm not on the back office. Okay, let me just go on. Like 10 minutes later, because it wasn't a quick thing for him, he went, oh my God, what's happened? And I said, that's all in Kazakhstan. He's like, geez, okay. So the idea and the point of what I'm saying is when you know the basics and you do the basics, that's all you need to do to grow a thriving team. And for those of you who have never seen me do this before, I have something called the 1-to-1 rule. If I decide to write another book, it will be all about this principle because I think it's so important, is that the 1-to-1 rule is I've got to walk as straight as I can to you in order to succeed. And the only way I can do that is moving my left foot and my right foot. Left foot forward, right foot forward, left foot forward, right foot forward, right foot forward, left foot forward, right foot forward, left foot forward. Now, knowing the basics, like learning the basics is my left foot, and then doing the basics is my right foot. But the majority of people, they never do the basics. They just decide to keep learning and learning and learning and learning and learning. You try and take 3 steps with your left foot, you can't walk straight because the right foot is planted and you end up walking in circles and you're getting confused. The same with if you just do the basics and you don't keep learning the basics, then you'll go round and round in a circle in the opposite direction as well, right? So you got to learn, do, learn, do, learn, do. You'll get bored and then you'll go learn, and then you'll go off track and then you'll hit the reset button. Okay, learn, do, learn, do, learn, do. So I just wanted to give you like an introduction to the importance of today around mastering the basics, the 1-to-1 rule, and singing the same song. Because when you all sing the same song, your business will move significantly faster. Why? Because you end up having leverage and independence. Because if the person to your left of you knows the song and the person to the right of you knows the song, anyone in the business can help you. And then you have confidence and certainty that they know it and they know it because they're singing the same thing. When you're all trying to do things differently, that's when there is no speed, no acceleration, and no momentum. Momentum will not be achieved until you master the basics. Simple as that. And I want you to have COVID-like speed. For those of you who are building in COVID, you'll know what I mean. COVID-like speed, COVID-like success when everyone else is still trying to figure it out. That's the competitive advantage I want you to have. So that's the introduction. In the next part, I'm going to talk about the different types of leads you need to be aware of and how to communicate with them.